In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this beach collapsible portable table. Great for a drink, sturdy enough to stay in the sand, holds a drink, holds cell phones, real easy to make. This is going to work out just perfect. So stay tuned and I'll show you how to make it.
I decided to do some research on Etsy for some items that I could do videos to show how to make that would not only be an easy project to make, but also a project that would sell well. And so what I decided to do is I did some looking and I came across these portable beach tables. Now, what I'm talking about are items like this, where they stick in the sand and they hold cups, they hold cell phones, and they're portable. They're easy to place in the sand. They're easy to carry to and from the beach. That would be one example. This one right here would be another. Now, some of these people they're not using them necessarily on the beach, but the design is still the same. The only difference is what we're going to use for on the beach. The way it's going to stick in sand is maybe a little bit different from what these people are using to stick them into the ground around a campfire. And I didn't really want to cover the campfire version of it because of the way it sticks in the ground. I was having a little bit of trouble figuring out the best way to do it and to show it on the video. And then I also had some feelings like those could potentially become unsafe depending on how pointy the item is. It sticks in the ground, and I really didn't even want to get into that. So this is just about how to make one for the sand. It's a nice and safe way to transport. There's no real pointy ends that you'd have to worry about someone getting hurt on. So I decided just to look into these, and I use a tool called Everbee just to kind of determine if a project is sellable. So using Everbee, it creates this little bee icon on the listing. I can then click on that icon. It brings a little pop-out out, and it tells me approximately how many monthly sales they're making, the revenue, total sales they've made since the listing started, how long ago the listing started, how many views, favorites. It gives you all this information about this. It even tells you, for those of you who are familiar with Etsy, and this is important, the tags they're using, which is what basically helps you get found, a big part of what helps you get found. You can also click on the shop details over here. So there's a lot of information that you're provided at your fingertips. You don't have to be digging down into each listing. It just pops up right there. So it's a really nice tool. Now this item isn't selling amazing, but it's still getting some sales. Here's another one. This one right here, they're selling roughly $100 a month, and the estimated revenue is $7,900. So they're figuring they're selling for $79 a piece. I can see that over here it says they were on sale for $63.20. So the revenue could be lower than that, but there also might be some upgrades that this item has that maybe makes it cost more, such as engraving or some things like that. So that is a very good sign that this is a good product. They have free engraving, free shipping, it says. Let's just look at this listing. They have some different stain colors, and they have some engraving styles. So I guess the sale price is $63.20. That's probably a little bit more of a realistic price. A lot of times sellers will run constant sales, so that might be their typical price. So let's just figure this estimated revenue is actually $6,300, which is still really good. Not sure what their costs are, but it looks like they're just using plywood, so their costs are probably fairly low. I'd say $20 or less. So it's still a pretty good profit. They could be profiting $4,000 a month on these things. So that's a good example. This one is the same maker. So I assume it's just that they've probably kicked out a bunch of different listings and they're experimenting with what works and just trying mass listings and hopefully, something takes off, which obviously this one did. This one right here, they're selling 8 of those. Some of these don't apply. Here's another one with wine glass holders, and looks like you can put some fruit or something on it. And you could incorporate wine bottle holders into these as well. Here's another one for in the yard, wine glass holders. You can see, just stick it in the ground. Then a little pin holds it in place, and away we go. We're ready to drink some wine. So that one, they're selling $38 a month, $62 each. Estimated revenue is $2,300. So these are selling on Etsy. If you lived in a place where something like this would be popular, you could probably sell them locally as well. So you don't have to just rely on Etsy, obviously. But we're gonna just use these as inspiration and dig into the shop and start making some of these. We're gonna do ones that hold 2 cups, 2 cell phones, and that's all it's gonna do. Again, if you wanted to modify it for wine, modify it for wine. Create 2 different versions. That'd be great. If you had another idea, roll with that. But I'm going to show you the general idea, and so you can take it and run with it how you want. So I decided to make this with my CNC router, and the reason I thought I should do that way was just it makes it a lot quicker, more duplicatable, and I could test things out a lot quicker. So this video is actually showing the prototype that I made. I did make a few adjustments to this after it was all said and done. There were a few things I didn't like. I have made those adjustments in the plans available. So how you see it in the plan is how I feel the best way to make this item would be. So now I do want to say that you do not have to have a CNC to make this. I know that most people do not have them. You could use normal tools that you can use to cut curves out, such as bandsaw, jigsaw, scroll saw. Those type of tools will work for this. So do not get discouraged and think, oh, I can't make this. You absolutely can make this, even if you don't have a CNC router. So we're going to cut out the top in this. We're going to cut out the support that goes underneath the top. Then later we'll come back and use the CNC to cut out a few other pieces. Now I wanted to show that you can do this with other tools. So if you were going to use a jigsaw, you're going to have to drill a hole in any kind of interior cuts, like where the cup holders are and things like that, and then feed the blade down through and work your way around those cuts. You couldn't cut those out with a bandsaw because of you can't get the blade inside of that area with a bandsaw. Once I was done cutting that out, I just went to my disc sander and just kind of sanded the edges off. I had some little fuzzies that came from the router. My router bit wasn't very good. I need to get some new ones. So it wasn't making the most crisp cut, and I wanted to clean those up. Then for the interior curves, I went and I just got a drum sander and put it in my drill press and sanded those curves out, and then took a file and just cleaned up all the edges with a file just to try to make sure that they were really nice. Now, a router would have been really good, but I didn't have a router bit that would fit nice inside of those little those little cell phone slots. So if you had a smaller router bit with a round over, it would have worked perfect. So now I've gone back to the router, and this time I'm cutting out the leg. I'm cutting out the pieces that attach to the leg and the pieces that basically provide the space between the top and the bottom that allows that cell phone to rest down in and allows the cup to rest on so that they don't fall to the ground. And so these are going to show a few extra cuts that we decided to edit out. One is the handle on the leg. I found it's not necessary. The other is I had an extra hole drilled where these pins will go in for making the item portable. We used just a hitch pin that I got at the hardware store, to do this, and it locks it in place for portability. Then it locks it in place when you have it standing up, so that it doesn't fold when you have your drink on it. So, and it worked really well. And so I can provide a link for those in the description in case you aren't sure what you're looking for.
When fitting this together, you need a pivot point. And so what we're going to use is we're going to put a bolt through the hole in the corner of the top supports, and it's also going to go through the corner of the leg, and the entire leg will pivot up and down on that, and that's how this entire thing will fold for portability and easy to carry and set up. So one thing you got to do, you have to round the corner that's closest to that hole on the leg, or else it's going to hit as it pivots down. The other thing you have to do is make sure that you mount this so that that little notch in the leg fits with the top, and so it nestles right down in there and seats nicely. Now these two top supports that are going to bolt to the leg need to make sure that they clear the bottom, which is why we have that cutout area in the bottom so that the leg can fold in and out. The other piece is designed to actually establish where the bottom is in relation to the top. It's going to attach to the top and the bottom and keep that space there so that your drinks and your phones don't fall to the ground. So it takes a little bit of positioning. You're going to have to do this and a little bit of trial and error, set it up, see how it fits, and then go from there. Now, what we then do is we're going to drill pocket holes, and we're going to use pocket hole screws to attach the supports. So they will all pocket hole screw into the top. So the side supports that are going to bolt to the leg are going to pocket hole into the top. So will that front support piece that just keeps the space between the two pieces. The leg supports obviously can't attach to that bottom, but the other support piece will, and you'll have to drill in through the bottom and screw that in to attach it, because you can't get a drill into the inside. You can't put pocket holes on both sides. You'll never get a drill to fit in there to put the screw in. So we can only pocket hole one side of these. Now to attach the supports to the leg, we're going to use a bolt, and this needs to be a 1/4 inch bolt, and it needs to be 2 inches long. Now there's a chance that the bolt will fit tightly in the holes. You don't really want that to happen. If that is the case, either get just a slightly larger drill bit and ream those out, or wallow them out with a 1/4 inch bit if you don't have a slightly larger one. Just make them a little bit wider, because we want this thing to rotate freely. We don't want it to bind up because the hole's too tight. Now you're going to place a bolt through, then you're going to put a washer on the inside, on each side of the leg where it meets the supports. That washer will just reduce some of the friction, give it a little bit of space so that it can rotate more freely. And then you're going to put a lock nut on the outside and tighten that down so that this thing doesn't loosen over time, and it should last exactly how you set it up from the start. Now I bought a hitch pin and I attached it through the one hole, and what that'll do is it'll lock the table in place, either open or closed, so that it doesn't fold up when you're open, or it doesn't like fold out when you're walking. So I didn't want the table to be unstable. This is a very good way to do it. You want something that can lock in place so that you don't lose it. So the hitch pin has a nice bar that goes across it. You could also use like a pin that has like a cotter pin, like what you'd use on a trailer, would work. But I would want something that you can lock in place so you don't lose it or don't drop it and forget it. That would just be inconvenient. So this is an important step. This fit a little tight, needed to bore this out a little bit, but it needs to be at least 3 inches long, so it's sure to go through everything and have enough space on the outside for that pin to loop around, or the locking mechanism to loop around. So 3 inches would be about the bare minimum you'd want to go with this. Now it's time to attach the bottom to that support, and we had to line this up. I wanted to get the edge sort of close to where the top would be, and I figured out that probably the easiest way is just by taking a piece of wood that I knew was straight holding it tight against the top and then nudging the bottom into place periodically the whole way around. This took a little bit of time because every time you nudge it on one side, it tends to throw it off a little on the other side. But with a little bit of patience, I got it where I wanted it to be. And then all you need to do is just run a screw down through the bottom into that support and lock it into place, and then do the same thing on the other side. So you want 2 screws so that this thing does not pivot on the 1 screw, but any more than 2 screws would be overkill. Now once you have that locked into place, we're ready to figure out how to stick this thing into the ground. Now for the paint, I got matte beach glass color. I thought it would look good since we're going to primarily use this at the beach. So I'm just going to hit everything with that. Probably going to take a couple coats here.
Now, in case you wondered, I moved to Florida in the middle of making this project. So I am now in what used to be a garage of a house that is now my new shop. And obviously you can see I'm actually working in my bare feet. So we have more on that in my previous video. I talk about my move and show you the transition from my old shop to my new, but I wanted to make sure people understood, you know, why the scenery changed all of a sudden.
All right, so there's coat number 1. I'm definitely gonna need more coats, and I'm gonna flip it over, paint the other side. Now, you wouldn't have to paint yours, obviously. You could stain it. You could make these a lot nicer by not using plywood, but that would involve gluing up some boards and definitely some more time and expense. So it's kind of up to you, but this is how I chose to do it, and it should turn out fine and serve the purpose. Okay, so now I'm gonna rotate this down. I got some spots that didn't get paint. I'm gonna hit those quick, and then I'm gonna flip it over. That should do it for now. I'll let this dry. I'm gonna hit it with a few more coats and it should be done. So thanks for watching. As you can see, works well. Came up with this base. Thought it would be a safe option, easy to carry to the beach. Now, no risk of anybody getting injured on something pointy that you need to stick in the ground. So I thought that was very important in the design process. You can get these online. If you don't have a local store you can get them from, not a problem to get these online. Few things I have changed in the plans is I did not include this carrying handle. It is simply not necessary. It would just, it's the balance is off. It's easier to carry it by one of the holes in the top when it's folded up. So I omitted this from the plans. Don't need to include it. There was also one extra hole I put in one of these support pieces. It's not needed either. It was I wasn't thinking when I did it, and I thought I needed an extra hole for this this pin, and I didn't need it. So those changes have been made in the plans. So if you see them in the video and wonder where they are, that's why. Check these videos out that are coming up on this screen. Hit that subscribe button. I'm going to sit here and enjoy the sunset while you do that, and I'll catch you next time.